That's sad. That's sad. So this dude been clout chasing since he tried to tell the Geisha black girl, tried to tell her that me and him was a thing. Back then, I checked him back then. So when I realized that his page got all this stuff about me on his page.
Y'all listen, when it comes to Claressa, I'm starting to get a little soft spot for her. I really am. I really feel sorry for her.
It started with a moment that felt bold, almost unbelievable. She didn't whisper it, didn't hide it, didn't even try to soften it. She said it loud, like she was proud of it, like she had just won something major. The claim was simple but heavy. She took another woman's husband, and in her eyes, that made her the one who came out on top. For a while, it really looked like she meant every word. The confidence was there, the energy was loud, and the way everything was presented made it seem like the situation was already settled.
I don't know whose team you think I'm on, but I'm on your team. And like I said, Papoose and Remy spent time together on Christmas. I got pictures of them together. I ain't even dropped them.
People online couldn't look away. Every post, every clip, every appearance started getting picked apart like episodes in a series that nobody wanted to miss. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It felt like something unfolding in real time. And the way she carried herself only added to it. She didn't seem unsure. She didn't seem like someone caught in a complicated situation. She looked like someone who believed she had already secured her place. She kept repeating the same message everywhere. My man. Over and over in interviews, on social media, and live streams. It stopped being just a relationship and started feeling like a statement. The more she said it, the more it shaped the way people saw the situation, almost like everything around her had to fit that narrative. At first, the reaction wasn't sympathy. Many people responded with skepticism and raised eyebrows, seeing the situation as messy and overly bold. Still, it kept attention because it was unpredictable and constantly shifting. For a while, it even looked like she was fully in control of the story she was presenting. Reports are coming out that Tasha K has reportedly stepped in and begun sharing claims that match what people had already been quietly saying behind the scenes for some time.
I felt sorry for Claressa when she was in there blowing a bag, $30,000, and then she had to take the bag to Papoose.
According to these reports, Papoose is no longer with Claressa Shields and has instead returned to his wife. Remy Ma's sources close to Remy Ma's circle suggest that the same man Claressa once called her forever allegedly made a sudden decision, packed his things, flew back to New York, and reconnected with his wife. There was no explanation or public closure, just a quiet departure that reportedly shifted everything overnight.
Apparently, Claressa spent Christmas alone in the Louis Vuitton store, racking up about $30,000. And
after that, things went silent in a way that seemed louder than words. Calls weren't being picked up, and messages were left unanswered. From the outside, everything was unfolding in plain sight. What should have stayed private became public, with tension and emotional fallout playing out in front of an audience that kept watching. It no longer felt in control. More like things were slipping, the situation shifted again, with some saying Claressa was mirroring Remy Ma through similar outfits, jewelry, travel, and poses. Online, it was called a pattern, and talk grew quickly. Claims of a tattoo further intensified reactions. Meanwhile, Remy Ma stayed calm and distant, not engaging publicly. She continued with her family, still wearing her ring. Later reports of her and Papoose under the same roof added confusion. Another claim then suggested Claressa may have been a temporary part of the situation during a privately handled marriage. At that point, it no longer looked like a simple love triangle. It appeared more layered and messy, shifting from emotions to perception, timing, and how everything unfolded publicly. The narrative people first believed started breaking down. Now, attention has turned to how Claressa may have lost control of the story, while Papoose seemed to move between both sides without fully committing in public. Remy Ma's silence has become its own statement as she continues her life without reacting publicly. At the same time, Claims surfaced that Claressa spent holidays alone and made luxury purchases, adding to the online narrative. What once looked like confidence is now being seen by some as a very public downfall. Initially, Claressa appeared fully confident and certain, never hiding or showing doubt, with every move reinforcing that image. Over time, her confidence started to look different. Her posts became more frequent and intense, as if she was trying to prove a point rather than just live naturally. It began to seem like the reality didn't fully match the image she was pushing. Claressa later suggested the situation wasn't as settled as it first appeared. The marriage she believed was over may not have ended, and the woman she thought she replaced may still have had a place. While Claressa stayed visible online, Remy Ma remained quiet, focused on her marriage behind the scenes. When Tasha K entered the discussion, things began shifting more publicly. People started noticing details that didn't fully add up. Claressa spending holidays alone, Papoose disappearing for long stretches, and moments that felt staged. These doubts shifted the narrative. Then claims surfaced that her luxury lifestyle may not have been funded by Papoose, but possibly by her, while being presented as his gifts. What once looked like a simple relationship started to feel like a carefully built image, where reality didn't always match what was shown. The focus moved to perception and who was shaping the story. People began revisiting old clips, and normal moments started to look different in hindsight. Some scenes now seemed too perfectly timed, and what felt natural began to appear staged. This led to questions about whether Claressa was truly being chosen or playing a role in a larger situation. As this spread, views on Papoose also shifted. Some believed he may not have been as invested as assumed. Claims even suggested a possible pattern of reusing gifts and luxury items to project loyalty, even if the reality was more complicated. As these stories grew, people began connecting details and forming a wider narrative. The situation was framed as more layered, involving a married man linked to multiple women and shifting dynamics depending on the moment. According to these claims, Claressa Shields may have been part of this same pattern rather than an exception. While Claressa kept posting what looked like a perfect relationship, reports suggested the reality didn't match the image. The marriage many thought was over appeared to be quietly repairing behind the scenes, with no public statements, only small changes people noticed over time. One early sign, according to sources, was a sudden trip. Papoose reportedly returned to New York and then went silent. No posts, no explanations, and no communication, leaving questions behind. At first, Claressa's image stayed steady, but slowly things changed. Calls went unanswered, messages were ignored, and reassurances felt weaker. People began seeing a gap between the public image and private reality. Instead of control, it looked like she was holding on to something slipping away. Online talk shifted toward fixation, and users started comparing posts, outfits, poses, hairstyles, accessories, and captions. What once seemed like coincidence began to look different. In some parts of the internet, the talk went further, shifting from influence to claims of imitation of Remy Ma. Some began saying Claressa Shields wasn't just inspired, but closely copying specific choices, with the narrative growing more intense around her intentions and whether that space was ever truly available. Then the alleged tattoo shifted everything. For many, a married man's name, while he was still tied to someone else, didn't feel romantic. It raised concern and changed the tone of discussion. The comparisons made it more intense. While Claressa showed commitment, he was still linked to a long-term marriage that hadn't fully ended. From that angle, she no longer looked clearly chosen, but caught in something less stable than it seemed. As more public moments unfolded, a pattern stood out. Claressa stayed visible at events and online, while Papoose was often absent. That absence was noticed. Meanwhile, Remy Ma remained calm and steady, appearing with her family, still wearing her ring, as if nothing had changed. Then another layer emerged, with claims of financial pressure making the situation even more complicated. By this point, the story was clearly falling apart. What once looked like a strong relationship started to mean something very different. Instead of stepping into an open place, Claressa Shields now seemed to be carrying most of the image alone. While she kept up a polished public picture, the marriage people thought was over appeared to be quietly reconnecting behind the scenes. Watching it unfold, many felt it wasn't just the relationship breaking down. It was the control over the narrative slipping away in real time, emotionally and financially in front of a large audience. As things reached that point, some began to see it less as a love triangle and more as a distraction from what was happening behind the scenes. Focus shifted to the quiet reunion, the silence, and the idea that parts of it may have been more planned than it first seemed. Claressa Shields' energy also changed. Her confidence didn't feel the same. Her posts became more guarded, and her live streams ran longer with a more uncertain tone, which only increased speculation. Reports suggest she believed she was building something real, while he quietly returned to his past without being open about it. As the relationship continued online, the distance grew clear. Missed calls, broken plans, and a visible gap during the holidays. Claressa Shields was often seen alone on luxury outings, while Papoose was reportedly back with his wife and family, staying silent. Soon, people realized the relationship wasn't as solid as it first seemed, yet she kept posting to maintain an image already falling apart. What once looked like confidence turned more defensive, and the shift became obvious. It no longer felt like drama, but a public breakdown in real time. By then, the reunion had already happened quietly. There were no announcements, just silence and his absence growing harder to ignore. While she kept projecting an image, reality started showing through. He reportedly moved on, and she was left putting the pieces together as it unfolded. In the end, the situation didn't really come down to love as it was first shown to the public. It began to look more like a mix of control, ego, and carefully shaped perception. One side stayed loud and visible, holding on to a certain version of events, while the other remained quiet and steady throughout. Meanwhile, he seemed to move between both without much being said publicly. Claressa Shields didn't just lose a relationship. She lost the image she worked to build and maintain.